Well, hello everybody, Mike with Spray Jones coming to you with another video. If you're new to this channel, I am the owner of Spray Jones and I make spray foam insulation videos concerning closed cell, 2-pound insulation and open cell half-pound insulation for the spray foam industry and end users, building, construction professionals and what have you. So click on the like and the subscribe and the share, make some comments when you're here, and let's learn some things together. I've had a lot of people request and say, hey, can you ever do some before and afters and some follow-ups and all that sort of stuff? And I was like, yeah, we absolutely do. The problem is a lot of times we only hear something if it's sort of having problems. People generally don't phone back and say, hey, everything's great, I love it, I love it, I love it. Here's an instance where somebody did say something, and I got this very interesting text from my friend Steven. Now, Steven is somebody that we came to meet through a family member. They were suggested that this gentleman was looking for some spray foam. He was doing a renovation, so piece by piece we started solving some problems, and before you know it, we were spraying the whole entire house, the basement, the main floor, the roof, and the addition that he'd done on the house. He ended up spending quite a bit, but when he was done, the spray foam was working so well that it was taking just about literally nothing, like 20,000 BTU to heat this existing structure that he had. So a year later or so, 2 years later, he had outdoor detached garage, your typical 24 by 24 with 10-foot, 12-foot walls, and then he had a small mezzanine level built inside of it. So when you went into the garage, you had a set of stairs that would take you upstairs, not to a loft, just the mezzanine where you could have a railing and a desk and some things like that. So, you know, it was garage, storing all the typical garage stuff, but then over top in the mezzanine you could have this beautiful little work area. And we spec'd it out. It was 2x6 built. We put 2 inches of closed cell foam into it, roof and walls, and then he was doing an in-floor heat system under slab, and we didn't provide any of the foam for that. That was already there when we got there. They had poured the slab and then they had built the garage on top of it. So here we are, and we're going to cut now to Steven's text messages. He says, hey Mike, hope you're doing well. I thought you might enjoy this. At the end of fall, so this is 2022, I had the in-floor heating of my garage hooked up to an electric boiler. I can do that because I have solar panels and will be creating a lot of electricity. Okay? We just put in an old thermostat for now, and I'd set it to 15 degrees. Now, to my American friends, this is Celsius. He's talking 15 degrees Celsius. So to translate, that's going to be about 58 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. It seemed to work fine. The temperature never drifted away from 15 degrees Celsius until I went into the garage yesterday morning and discovered the temperature was up to 24 degrees Celsius. So now he's flirting with like high 70s. Figured that the thermostat had failed, so I turned the system off, replaced the thermostat, set it to 13 degrees Celsius. So now we're down to mid 50s. 55, and turned the boiler back on. It has been close to 36 hours, and the boiler still hasn't fired up because the room temperature is still above 13 degrees. The heat retention in the garage, despite it being minus 13 degrees to minus 18 degrees Celsius outside for the last 36 hours, is incredible. Thanks, Spray Jones. 2 inches of closed cell foam. So you remember in some of my other videos, if you haven't seen them, I have a video titled How Much Foam Do I Need? And in that we go over the efficacy of 1, 2, 3, 4 inches of closed cell foam. And we show you that 2 inches of closed cell foam will hold 86% of the heat in the structure. And this is where we digress from R values, because if it's R value, we just keep adding R. As long as we're adding product, we're adding resistance value. But I've always said you've got to look at the BTU retention. So he's telling you right here that they didn't drop for 36 hours from 24 degrees Celsius down to get it cold enough to get the thermostat to cut in at 13. It needed to drop quite a bit. And as a result, he had not lost that much temperature in the 36 hours to bring it down to thermostat cut-in temp. So is it retaining the heat? Yes, 86% thermal efficiency, and we weren't in control of what went in under slab, right? Obviously, under slab is going to have a large bearing to do with it, but whatever they put, it's adequate. It's keeping up. It's not dissipating too much of the heat downward into the ground. It's dissipating it up and into the structure. He's got some thermal mass there with the concrete. It is going to take a little bit for it to equalize. But if it was a poor insulation job, if the spray foam was not as advertised, if we are selling something here or educating people on something that just isn't so, then the foam insulation would not be performing like this. You'd be seeing a closer gap between when you call for heat and when it needs to cut in, because the insulation would require it. Just ask yourself, if it was batted, 2x6 batted with fiberglass insulation, could you go 36 hours and replicate the same conditions with this? The answer is no. You know you couldn't. You know, everybody knows in their gut that they would have to have the boiler cutting in a whole lot earlier. So more cut-in time, more run time means more cost, and you're either going to pay for it up front in the spray foam insulation, or you're going to pay for it in larger and longer extended op costs for the life of the structure. So here's a testimony. Check it out. Scroll through it. Enjoy. Click on the like and subscribe. Stick around for more content coming up.